All right. Hey everyone, it's Jenna, the Scream Queen here at Damnation Vault, and I am here with Zubaida Solid of Siena Root from Sweden. How are you today? Tonight in
I'm
your turn.
I'm fantastic. It's evening here at this time of hour, but I mean, it's a new year, ready to do this.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, are we getting? Oh, Love
We're
is
getting
join us. How cool.
yeah. He said he might join us, so I wasn't sure. He's
I'm
in,
here.
Oh,
in another place.
awesome. This is a surprise. How
Hey.
cool.
Hey,
It's nice and nice
guys.
to meet you. All right. Well, what's that?
It's a little bit of latency here.
Yeah, it's early. It's 1:30 in North Dakota. So, and you're 7 hours ahead of me, I think.
Wow,
Seems about like
yeah.
this.
North Dakota, that's far off.
A little bit. But yeah, you have a new album coming out on February 24th called Revelation. My first question is like, how do you feel like that title really like symbolizes the album and the songs as a whole?
Love, do you want to take this or should I?
Yeah, I can try to explain. There's no simple explanation to this one, but we just thought it was a musical revelation for us when recording this. We rehearsed a couple of songs and went out into the woods of first in Dalarna, out in the countryside in Sweden, and then in Värmland, two different studios in two different sessions for this album. And while we were there, I think we all experienced something very unique and special. Can you add to that, Zubaida?
Yeah, I mean, I would concur. It was going to be a completely acoustic album, but then it turned into to something more revelating, if you may say so. Like, and I mean, I guess that's the process with any record, really. You start off on a path, and then you realize during the journey that it is going to turn into something else. And we debated a lot of different titles, but I think the different type of tunes and the way that they're composed on this record is really the reason why we landed in the title Revelation.
Okay. And you have like a release party the night before the album comes out, and it's going to show a documentary about your journey that you had while creating the album. So what in the documentary, what were some of those moments that like were very profound for you that are showcased in the video?
Yeah, there are many. I would say this documentary should say that it's a very poetic documentary without any dialogue, and it's also a road movie. Um, the album captures a lot of the theme moving from the city to the countryside. This is also uh, shown in the music that the countryside is more like acoustic, and the city is more electric or electrified in the expression of the music. And the documentary shows the band how we start out in a fairly gloomy city site and end up in this very strange studio.
Okay. And what were some of the moments that happened off camera that like during your creative journey that really like made an impact on the sound of the record?
Oh, I would say, I mean, we did some takes when we were up in Dalarna actually, and we were out in the forest by this. Oh, it's in Swedish. It's called kalkbrott, but it's basically it's a body of water that's like very clear blue, and we were
Where you
sitting
did
by.
take the limestone out of the ground,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but anyways, we were sitting there during the night, and we started a fire, and actually one of the singles that we released called Little Burden. I mean, we had some prior ideas when it came to that song, but it actually started coming together really nicely, as I remember it, when we were sitting by that fire and playing. That is something that's recorded in this documentary. But I would say that's a very one of the. I mean, that song is one of the, for me, key songs of the album, at least.
Yeah, and you have a
Yeah.
video for it as well. And
Yeah.
where was that filmed, first of all?
Well, the area is called Dalarna, which is a region, is sort of center of Sweden. Della Carlia, I guess is the English pronunciation. The area was Borlänge, right, Love?
Well, what you were asking was where the video was shot. The video for Little Burden.
Yes.
Okay. That was partly in Dalarna, but mainly it was in Småland, close to where Astrid Lindgren was brought up. You know, this famous child literature star.
Okay. Yeah,
Do
and
you follow?
yeah. Yeah, as I have like all these questions in my head. Um, like
Yeah, go ahead.
with that song, like I mean, with all of your songs, there's some very thought-provoking lyrics you have. So well, first, like, do you all collectively come up with the lyrics, or is it like just one person, or how do you all form the lyrics?
I mean,
Yes,
I
we
would
do, but
say
I think Zubaida brought a lot of lyrics to this album.
Okay.
it ended up being that way. But Love is a fantastic songwriter. I mean, I think Love has, throughout the Siena root history, written some really great lyrics to look at. So, I mean, we draw inspiration from each other, but I guess I've been the the person sewing it all together, so to speak.
Okay. Yeah, and with
Yeah.
like, Little Burden, there's like I don't know how to explain it because like my interpretation of it could be like totally different from like what you actually mean of it. But it's really interesting because it's like freeing the burdens off of your shoulders and kind of comparing it from my perspective, like to somebody else's burdens that could be like completely different. So like maybe like I don't I don't know, like what was the inspiration for that song?
Well, I wouldn't oppose your interpretation of it. I think it's an excellent take on it, and it's open for interpretation.
Mm.
What do you say, Zubaida?
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. I think this was a song that both me and Lua were quite involved in writing lyrics wise, but it was, I mean, it is as you say, it's a song that encompasses both, you know, the feeling of a very small birding being extremely heavy, but combined with the thought of, you know, this idea that burdens are just that, they're just burdens. They're like, you know, they can easily be brushed off, or, you know, for somebody else it's inconsequential what you feel as a burden, or how heavy it should be, you know. And so that's, yeah, I would agree with your assessment there when it comes to how you
Okay.
interpret it. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, and like another song on there, Keeper of the Flame, that one is it's also the last track on the album and it's so beautiful. It has like that just bold sound, and like your voice is just it's amazing, so amazing. And like there's a like a line and a line in it where it's like fatigue, I'm so tired of trying, I will never feel elated, only feel at ease, which is like it brings you into a different perspective of things because you're sitting there wondering like, yeah, what if I didn't like feel those elated feelings, and if I just like sat here and was at ease with the world and the universe. So what were like some inspirations that like that helped create that song?
Well, unfortunately, it's not very original. The source of inspiration, of course, is heartbreak. I mean, I worked really hard on that song. Those lyrics was mostly written by me, but it came from having this relationship with this person who just they wouldn't give themselves completely over to you, and then a combination with that of it was a long time ago since we went out, but over the years coming to terms with my place in that relationship, and what it turned me into, and yeah, so it's basically that a relationship with a guy who just I don't know, he didn't take any responsibility in the relationship really, but I was so in love with him, so I just I let myself be this uh person that was just there and not actually being present, but still, yeah, you know what I mean. Maybe, I don't know. It's a tale as old as time. I would say. Unfortunately.
Yeah,
Well,
it's really one of my favorite songs as well on that album, and it's a great finale of the album. I think it's also a very interesting lyric, and I can relate to a lot of stuff there as well. But it's interesting how time make you see things with the new eyes.
definitely, definitely. How do you feel like the musical aspect of it like really helps portray the message of the song?
Love, I'm leaving that over to
Oh,
you.
sorry, I missed some of what you said. It was lagging. Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, how do you feel like the musical aspect of the song like really helps convey the message of it?
I can't explain how. I just think it totally goes together. Uh, yeah, I think the music and the lyrics it's perfectly together. Zubaida.
Yeah, but I mean, I could say this, like I when I came with the song idea for the group, I mean, I had a idea in my head when it came to the chords, and the chord progression really. So I think that is like maybe one of the reasons why it's so punching, because I wrote the lyrics and together with the chords. That's my process most of the time when I write a song. But then of course, putting it through a Siena root lens is always going to turn it into something even more. And I think that's musically speaking, since the guys really could relate to the theme of the song, it was almost effortless to put it together. It's one of the songs I think we got to work on pretty fast, because it was it was pretty obvious what was supposed to happen, and how, I mean, I guess
Yeah,
I guess that,
it was just the ending that we were really all thinking, like, when somebody came up with the idea that we need a really strong ending to it as well, so the song becomes something, yeah, even more, and we were all together on that, and thought like, yeah, we should arrange that. And
Okay. Yeah, and you also have another single, Consequence and Fates, and you have a video for that as well. So where was that one filmed at?
That is something like a trailer for the documentary. It's it's the beginning of the documentary as well, parts of it. It was filmed in different locations. Some around Stockholm, where we rehearse, and some, yeah, along the way up to northern Sweden.
Okay. And there's also like another deep lyrical meaning in that about like your final hour, like right before death, or and and also like there's a fine line between consequence and fate. So also how did that transpire?
Well, I guess this is another one that I had a big part of writing the lyrics in. But it was actually in the beginning of the 2020 or like in March when COVID exploded throughout the whole world. I got really sick in the like first wave, and all this like uncertainty concerning the disease was just flying around quite a lot. And so during that time, I was really I mean I couldn't go in to get tested because I wasn't sick enough, or I wasn't, and we weren't sure how contagious it was. And I got really scared, like, because you saw uh, people from all age groups like dying, and you didn't really know like how severe is my sickness. I had this, in the beginning, there was a lot of talk about like pressure on your lungs and feeling like there was a steel wire. So I got really scared one night, and and then I started getting like panic attacks, and I felt like my heart racing. And so it was actually from that experience. It was one of my first, like, of course you as a grown person, you think a lot about death in that scenario, but then it was just like I had so much time to ponder, like, am I ready to die? How do I feel about this? How do I combat something that I can't even see, like. So that was the where I came up with the lyrics, really. Like I was just like, no, but I'm not, I didn't even know there was like this way of feeling. Like, am I really ready for this, so from there came the whole, yeah, all of that.
That's deep because yeah, that is a scary feeling, but it's also kind of freeing at the same time if you think about it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, I think COVID, it touched a lot of people throughout the world, but it's I think at some point in your life, even not with a pandemic, like if you get severely ill, or you maybe experience somebody else in your vicinity that's struggling, or you know I think it's that kind of universal message that you didn't even know existed.
Yeah, definitely. And like your music also, like there's like elements of nature intertwined and vibes of it. So what is it like what is one of the main takeaways from Mother Nature that you feel like you really incorporate into the Siena root sound, whether it be like a physical aspect or like metaphorically or something completely different, like maybe on a dimensional level?
This sounds like a Love question, actually.
I was just about to say something. Oh, now we're getting really deep now. Well, no kidding. But I think for us, like grown up in Sweden, none of us are really uh, spiritual or religious in a Christian way. We I think all of us can experience mystique or spirituality when getting into nature and getting connection to something more than just a screen and subway or whatever. Being out in nature and experience this whole thing that is so much bigger than us, any of us. I think this is a very strong feeling that we don't get anywhere else. Now I'm just speaking freely from myself, and you have to fill me in, Zubaida.
But I don't know. I don't. I think it's something that just happened with this record. I mean, I would absolutely agree that throughout Siena Roots music history, it's there's a lot of influences that makes you feel like you get very grounded, and you can sort of have this like environmental aspect to it, if it's either the lyrics or the way that we produce the music. But I think it has to do with the fact that, you know, we talk about a lot, like how we produce our record, the way we choose to not have like a digital way of doing it is it's kind of a statement. And also, I mean, throughout this record there's some takes that's been you know, recordings of birds or water, or you know, that kind of thing. And I think it's as Love says, you know, just being in nature, since we're so globalized these days when it comes to, or you know, we live in these cities, big cities, and nature's being pushed out further away. I think it's, you know, it's really refreshing to hear music that, you know, wasn't only composed in a small studio by one person writing everything, and you know, doing it track by track
Yeah,
without,
I
you know,
agree.
yeah.
Yeah, that's also important. I think the copy that you got of the record is the streaming version. On the vinyl record, it's more of a conceptual album. The songs goes together with the environmental sounds, sometimes of traffic and sometimes with birds or water.
Okay. Yeah, I
Yeah.
noticed that like midway through the album, there were a couple of songs like Winter Solstice and Dusty Roads that had like that were more mellow and more like stripped down and raw acoustic sounding than some of the like the beginning of the album and the ending of the album. And there's, yeah, I did hear like some of the water running and stuff.
Yeah,
But
that's fantastic.
how do you feel like the softer I get the softer side of Sienna Root like is really captured in Revelation?
Yeah, we've always done from time to time acoustic shows. You can hear it also on the live album Root Jam. There's two songs that are acoustic. But for this one, it was natural that when we got into the woods, we thought, yeah, let's do this song with an acoustic sound to it. Just fits that way that we're moving from the city into the countryside. We're going from an electric start into an acoustic um, middle part or ending.
Okay. Yeah, it's such an amazing album. Like, were there any songs that you feel like you each connected with the very most on it?
But for me, I mean, I have a couple different ones, but mostly because of I think the lyrics and, you know, where the inspiration came from, specifically, you know, the themes of songs. But I guess if I would have to choose a favorite, it's a toss up between either a professional procrastinator or keeper of the flame, for sure.
For
Okay.
me, it's definitely Dusty Roads, I would say, because it's it's a song that has so many different elements to it, and it has mellow parts and it has stronger parts. It has some improvised things, and it has some really nice words and harmonies and melodies. And I think it also was very fun the way it came to be, this song. That I think it was you and me, Zubaida, who was jamming just drums and keys in the studio, and I was starting singing something, and then you took over and just continued the thing, and yeah,
Mhm.
that's
Yeah,
a
that's true.
funny way to write songs, I think.
Mhm.
And also, like, I've looked everywhere to try and find this, but how did you, Zubaida, come like together with Siena Root?
Well, I moved to Stockholm in 2015, and I started to get to know some of the musicians that were hanging out. In Stockholm has a small but a very intimate and a nice blues scene. So I started jamming on the blues jams, and when I started going out to see shows, like I've been a fan of Siena Root for such a long time. I started listening to them, I don't know, maybe back in 2010 or something. So I already knew of the band, but I didn't know Samir and Lobe personally in that sense. But so through different musicians there, we and Lobe and I saw each other quite a few times at a couple different shows and started talking, you know.
I
And
went to see
then,
your Frank Zappa cover band, and I was totally
yeah,
blown away.
yeah, I had a Frank Zappa cover band back in the day.
That's cool.
So it's so from that it kind of progressed into talking about Siena Ruda and joining as a guest really, and then when because my one of my best friend Lisa Lystam was singing in the band before for a period of time, and she was there as a guest as well, but wasn't really committed to being a member, and I wanted to be in a band, so it kind of progressed to me taking over the vocals. And then it so just happened that Erka, the previous organ player, he was becoming a dad, so he was you know, turning down the heat on touring so much. So then I started taking over playing keys for a little bit at a time, so to say.
Okay.
Mm.
Well, those are all of my questions, unless you want to add anything else to put out to the world and universe on Damnation Vault.
We hope to come over to the US and tour soon.
Come to
Yeah.
Fargo.
Yeah, send it out to any US promoter or whatever that wants to have us over the seas. That would be amazing. It's been a long time coming.
Yeah, that would be cool. Be cool to see you. We have some really cool venues out here.
Yeah.
Well, thank
Fantastic.
you. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this interview.
Yeah.
Thank you too.
Thank you for having us. Nice talking to you.
Yeah, very nice talking to you too as well. And like it was a nice surprise that Love joined. I'm like, oh cool. All right. Well, thank you, and you both have a wonderful rest of the evening.
Yeah. You enjoy
Yeah.
your day in North Carolina, was it?
North Dakota,
No,
North
North
Dakota.
Dakota.
Yes.
the frozen
That's
depths
the
of the
other
earth.
end of the.
Well,
That's
I
almost
suck at
Montana. You
geography.
should know that.
Sorry. Sorry? Say
That's
that again?
almost Montana.
Ah, I might be
Almost.
moving to Montana
To
soon.
Montana soon. Yeah.
Yes.
Almost to Canada too.
Mhm.
Okay. Fair enough. I don't know about Canada. We'll see. Okay. You guys take care.
All right. Bye.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.